Vancouver-based IT security solutions provider Absolute Software is coming off a record year, focusing on ransomware technology and building enterprise frameworks for businesses to stay resilient in the face of growing security breaches and cyber threats. For more on the trends seen in digital security, Christy Wyatt is president and CEO of Absolute Software, and she joins us now. Thanks so much for making time, Christy.
Thanks for having me.
So you recently reported your fourth quarter results. Revenue increased more than 60% compared to a year earlier. Where are you seeing the most growth?
Well, I think the last couple of years have been an interesting time for the cybersecurity industry. I think whenever you see a period of time where you have a lot of political instability, we've had a lot of massive shifts in how people work. I think that drives a lot of change. And for us, it's really caused customers to rethink how they protect their devices and how they protect their employees. You've read, I'm sure, all of the articles. You've seen ransomware increase. You've seen the number of attacks increase. There continues to be a huge shortage of cyber talent available. And so it really is in that sort of inflection between, bad things are escalating and the constraint and resources to respond.
It's an interesting time for the economy, though, as we sort of look ahead to, potential slowdown in Canada, elsewhere. What are you hearing from customers about what their sort of expectations are, and maybe their needs will be as they go forward? Do you expect spending perhaps to decrease because of the recessionary environment, or what are your thoughts there?
I mean, I think we're definitely hearing customers talk about decisions they're making across their business to protect themselves for whatever comes next. I think cybersecurity tends to be one of those areas that you're likely to avoid touching if you don't have to. It's a little bit like sitting in fire season and thinking about how you can save money on your fire alarms. It's probably not the first place you're going to go. And so when we're talking to organizations, what we're hearing a lot of is how can we continue to increase resiliency, increase the way we're protecting ourselves, even in the face of potentially either lower headcount or tightened budgets. And so it makes what we do around cyber resiliency even more important. One of the unique things that we do is we help people reinstall or repair their cybersecurity assets, their other cybersecurity applications. So a quote from one of my customers was, it's like having another IT person in the building. So when we automate, we can help them offset costs in other areas.
Yeah, what are you advising your clients pursue in terms of strategy when it comes to cyber threats? Or is it more so to find those resilient ways of doing things rather than more of a defensive strategy?
This is an interesting era for us because I think for at least a decade, we've talked a lot about defense and detection. So how can you identify if somebody's trying to do something bad, whether it's sneaking in through email or coming in across the network in the perimeter? I think we're increasingly seeing signals from organizations that understanding where bad things could happen is only half the story. You have to really put an equal amount of investment and thought into what kind of technology is available to restore things or snap back if something bad inevitably happens. And so there is this balance that's going to continue to happen between cyber defense and cyber detection and cyber resilience. And that, we play a little bit of a role in both, but that is a bit of a shift. I also think you're going to see board accountability shift. Boards starting to ask CISOs and CIOs, not just did you know what bad thing could happen and did you install the thing to protect it, but the really interesting question is that thing working? Are we actually protected? Are we getting the value for our money?
Can you elaborate on what your zero trust solution is?
Yeah, so zero trust is a shift in sort of the security philosophy. So we used to really believe that all employees were sitting in a building, and that if we protected the perimeter, either the physical or the digital perimeter of those people, we could protect them from bad things coming in. When people first started working away from the office, we found ways to kind of build a tunnel, a VPN, and have them pretend like they were sitting at their desk. And so we'd ask you your username and password, we'd let you in, and then we'd just pretend that you were there. Zero trust is really sort of flipping the entire thought process about how we secure people. It's about understanding that you could be anywhere and really asking a lot of what I call micro questions. Where are you sitting? Is your device encrypted? What kind of content are you trying to access? Have I seen you in this location before? So lots of, I'd say, subtle contextual questions before I make a decision about whether we allow you to touch something or not. And so that's a big investment that we've been making as a company. We acquired a company this time last year, and it's a very large and growing market that you're going to continue to hear, I think, a lot of companies focusing on as we go forward.
Yeah, really interesting stuff on the technology side there, Chrissy. I'm curious, too, about just what's happening in the industry in terms of, we've heard a lot about layoffs coming in the tech sector here and there in the Vancouver area as well. I wonder, what's going on for Absolute Software on that side of things, if this is a time of trimming down or maybe scooping up some of that talent?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're quite opportunistically still growing. So we still have a lot of positions open. I think that, it's important when we talk about, at least in our part of tech, to kind of distinguish cyber jobs versus cybersecurity companies. So there is a broad number of cybersecurity companies that we're operating under a sort of more growth-focused, growth at any cost sort of, and maybe over-investing. And we have seen a number of tech companies announce layoffs or restructuring to kind of bring their costs more back in line given the macro environment that we see. And that's definitely not true for us. I think that we've always operated under what we call a profitable growth strategy. So we've always believed that being incredibly profitable and funding our own growth path was equally important. But if you shift over to cyber jobs themselves, right, I think there's about 1 million people in the U.S. employed in cyber technology and about 700,000 open jobs in cyber technology as of last November. So this is not a segment that is going to slow down anytime soon. I think we still are seeing signs of a talent shortage in cyber certified technology talent.
Christy,